Dark Deception is actually one of the best indie horror games out there. If you're into horror genre by any means and haven't checked this game out yet, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing? What is you doing out here? Why is you wasting your time not playing that game? Go and check it right now. I'll put the link in the description. By the way, this is not sponsored. But I'm a massive fan of this game. And it's weird for me that I haven't talked about this game on the channel at all. And for the brief context for some of you who would be thinking, okay, why are we having variety of things on the channel instead of just one game? Well, I announced it a couple of weeks ago on the community tab that I'd be doing different things that I'm passionate about more often rather than picking one game and sticking to it forever, which, trust me, was taking away my creativity and fun in doing YouTube. But enough of rambling. Today's video is going to be short and quickie as we're tackling Dark Deception Chapter 3 just a little bit. Dark Deception, like I said in the beginning, is a horror game that contains different chapters, levels, and enemies and so forth. The main objective is to collect shard souls and avoid all sorts of enemies by using different strategies and so forth. I've played the game countless times and it still manages to scare me every single time. But the question is, why are we here right now? Well, for those of you who are following this game, it has 2 chapters thus far that are available, and chapter 3 is on the way. Gladly, we got an official release date for chapter 3. If you check on Steam official chapter 3 page, you'll find out that this chapter will be releasing on May 31st, 2019. That's not that far, considering how high quality this game is, and you'll have to remember, this is still developed by an indie game developers studio. Alongside release date, we have some screenshots that we're going to go through, but first, we need to get a little bit of context behind what we're getting in chapter 3. Its description says, and I quote, "Chapter 3, Dark Deception, is the next chapter in the Dark Deception story. Face off against 2 new nightmares, Dread Duckies and the Grim Clowns." Not only that, but on their official YouTube channel where they're posting devlogs and behind the scenes, we've got a glimpse of how the level would look like. I'll put the link in the description for you to check it out completely, but as you can see on your screen right now, that chapter 3 will be in sewers with Dread Duckies. No sign of how the clown or clowns would look like. However, we do know how the duck will and what will be his attack. From the same devlog, they showed that unlike other enemies, this one would be a little bit tough to handle, as instead of enemies getting closer to you and then killing you, this one can take you out from a good distance behind you. It has this projectile attack, which makes this character the dangerous thus far. We've also learned that the water under sewers will slow our movement, hence slowing us down, and that there will be hidden traps as always. So we'd have to be very careful with how we plan and strategize this level. And this is just one of the 2 enemies that we're getting in this chapter. So far, we don't know how the clown would look like and what's its attack, but one thing's for sure, that the clown ain't gonna play around. That rhyme. More so, these ducks which are lying around in the water are also a 50-50 gamble. Not every duck would attack you, but some of them might. So with that, let's take a look at some of these screenshots. The first one shows how wide each shard is, just like from second level of chapter 2, where it was a little bit hard to get shards that are far apart from each other. Remember when we talked about those traps earlier? That might explain why these shards are far apart. Then this second screenshot comes in, which shows us that we have to be very careful to not walk in the water all the time. As mentioned earlier, that this does affect our speed, or speed of the character, a lot. There's a space around both sides to walk or run, so be careful with what you do. The next one, however, is attached to the lore of this game. We haven't talked about the lore of this game at all on the channel. We haven't talked about this game at all on the channel, and trust me, we will. In the devlog, the developer explained this screenshot specifically, where they said that the perception of lost and forgettable things being found in the sewers is one of the ways they look and think about underground sewers, which ties into our main character's backstory. Look at the eyes of these ducks. Clearly, this part has to do something with a child and their childhood. There are countless theories going around. I'm not going to go in details because we're saving that for later. However, this could be a throwback of us learning about a murder of a child. And speaking of child, this next screenshot is making me a little bit nervous. It has this part right here where it might seem like if we stumble upon it, it would break down and we might fall into even more depth of the sewers. But notice the text on the wall. Remember you're ugly duckling. Like I said earlier, ducks are used for kids so they can have fun while bath. That does not sound right, but you get the point. And this shows that something horrible happened to a child while duckling. Either the child was murdered while they were playing with ducks, and then their body was thrown into the sewers, or the child was brought down in the sewers alongside duckies so they could play in the sewers while the murder happened. And this is where the part of the clowns comes in. We all know that clowns are usually found in sewers. They tend to take kids to the sewers where the kids meet their deadly fate. This could be one of the incidents. It makes sense. Ducks, water, sewers, and clowns. Think about it. There is clearly a connection out here. One that we'll touch sometime later. With that being said, that would do it for today's video. Remember, you can check out the game. I'll put the link in the description. It is a very well made, clean, and polished game. You will have a lot of fun playing this game. And most importantly, who doesn't like some horror stuff? I mean, come on. That's just obvious at this point. Also, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more just like this one, hit that like button. And if you're new here, smack that subscribe button. Become an official member of the SmackNPie. Help us get to 15,000 subscribers. We're so close, dang it. And yes, Mortal Kombat 11 video is also coming soon, hopefully tomorrow. And yes, Last of Us 2 videos also coming soon. And yes, the Walking Dead videos are still gonna be up on the channel. Don't worry, I'm not finishing them. And I will see you soon. Until then, take care and peace.